All right, continuation of all of our servers. So after I fired the two students, we over time we kept improving our food and renovating and just making the restaurant nicer in general. So by default, our check average, which is how much we charge, went up, which attracted better servers. So we went through the fob phase, fresh off the boat, and then we went through the student phase. The next phase was the banger phase. Now, in my opinion, a banger is somebody who doesn't do the greatest job, but they do it good enough to get it done, and they're really fast. They can do a lot of work, not necessarily a lot of good work. So that's what a banger is. And these are usually servers who work in, let's say, Olive Garden or something like that, where you're not trying to give exceptional service. You're trying to give the minimum service to as many people as possible and just to deliver on the core fundamentals of dining out. Seating them really fast, taking their order really fast, making sure they have everything they need, bringing them up really fast, getting them out really fast. There's no time to talk story or any kind of like, oh, how's your day and that type of stuff. Bangers, they're meant to sell food and sell wine, do it really fast, get people out, move on. They're good at turn and burn. That's what a banger is to me. So that was our next phase of servers. And yeah, clearly they're better than students. Now, were they were basically better than the students in every way. They moved faster, they sold better, the guests left happier because they actually knew how to serve. But the but yeah, there really wasn't anything wrong with them. It's just over time we transitioned. So we're in that phase for a good 6 months or so, and then um, that's when I fired that one. So I fired my mom, and then I fired the students, and then I fired the banger. There was just one. The other one, not there was another server, but she like naturally quit or whatever, so I didn't really fire her. But one day, it was a random day. We had maybe 30, 40 covers on the books. That means 30, 40 people are meant to come in that day. I was in the back with the other two kitchen people. So we hired kitchen people at that point. It was me, two other kitchen people, and the dishwasher. So it was right before service started at 4:45. We open at 5 p.m. I walk in the front door or the kitchen door to get to the dining room, and there's a ladder set up by the bar. Now we have these really tall cabinets that have massive swinging doors, and all the shelves are loaded with alcohol. So I walk in the dining room, which has a bar right in front. There's a ladder in the middle of the bar, and all of the alcohol, maybe like 150 bottles that were meant to be on the shelf, are on the counter. And we have 30 to 40 reservations, and there are people coming in right at 5 o'clock. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then she said, oh, I'm just cleaning. And then she looked jittery. And yeah, I was like, you can't be doing this shit right now. We're gonna open in 15 minutes. What the fuck? Put all the shit back up there and put the ladder away. We got covers waiting outside. It was almost 5. If she said okay and did it and whatever, that would be fine. But then she started arguing with me, and then that's when I got really pissed off. He was like, "Oh, but I'm cleaning," and I was like, "How are you so delusional that you don't see that you're the only server. You can't have a ladder in the middle of the bar with 150 alcohol bottles just strewn out everywhere, taking up space. How are you supposed to work? You don't have any space to do service. Basically, we came to the conclusion that she was on some sort of drug. It's the one that makes you clean, makes you want to clean a lot. S X, X no, it's not ecstasy. It's not cocaine. It's not Adderall. I can't remember which drug it is, but it's the one that makes you organize aggressively. Anyways, she got fired, and turns out she turned into a streetwalker after that, which was pretty sad. But yeah, she had a drinking and drug problem, which is very common in the food service industry. Like she would come by every once in a while and we'd give her charity, but we would try to help her as much as we could. But that's the thing is, um, you can only help so much. At a certain point, they have to want to help themselves. So yeah, that was that. So after the bangers, we moved to fine dining servers. Now, I used this previous restaurant that I worked at before this. This is where I brought the sous chef with me. This is where a couple of my current employees came from. It was fine dining, one of the best restaurants in Hawaii. And I, for example, of all of their servers on staff, at least half of them were certified sommeliers. So just to give you a gauge of the quality of service here, it yeah, very professional. Like you know how like if you imagine a kitchen where everyone's like, yes, chef, this is the server equivalent of that. Very mechanical and like perfect. Like hands. Table 43, like robots. Good robots that know how to put dishes down gently and tell you a story and that type of stuff. So that was the next range because at this point our prices went up. At this point, we're probably at $50 a person, and things were fine. But then I started to increase the prices because we were making better food. So the servers were making already maybe like 150 to 200, 250 to 200. And then I raised the prices. So by default, they got paid more. So on my $40 to $50 price rate increase, I didn't we didn't do anything. We're just like, okay, restaurant makes more money, the servers make more money, whatever. But then when I increased the prices some more and they would make more money, but also because it was more work, the kitchen staff ended up helping the front run food. So that's kind of where all of this started of the back learning how to do the front because it was either have an extra server and then everyone's moving kind of slow, or just run with two servers and then the kitchen helps support. So it's like two and a half. So check average went up. The servers started to make more money. So I told them I wanted them to tip out the kitchen because we were usually you would tip out the kitchen just for the fact that they are the kitchen, but for us specifically, the kitchen staff were doing part of their job. So it was fair that they tipped out. And even after they tipped out, they didn't make less money than they did before. So they maintained or gained. And then over time, I increased the prices again. And then with the increase in prices, I wanted to take a bigger fraction of the tip out. Now, keep in mind, I never ever made them take less money home than I never broke the status quo. It was either they make the same amount or more. But on this back end of things, it was always you're making more. I'm gonna take a little bit of that more and give it to the kitchen staff. And by the end of it, they they didn't like it, even though they were working from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 at the latest. So they're working from 5 to 7 hours, and they were taking home all day tips, probably 150 to $300 per person. 300 is like the maximum in tips, not including hourly pay. So they were making good money, 150 to 300. And it got to a point where I kept raising the prices, and then I wanted to take more. So like they didn't do anything better to they didn't do anything to make the restaurant better. They just wanted, oh, you increase the prices, I get more tips. And I thought that was unfair, and they thought it was unfair that I was taking part of the gain that they would have made for doing nothing. And yeah, um, two of them, two of them, I didn't actually fire. It was so one of them, the main server. Okay, one of them, the main server, she worked full time basically because she was the best server in my opinion. She cared the most. She did very good service and very good at talking to guests. She got flustered a lot, but still very good server. So she actually quit in she started to complain that she wasn't making enough money, and then I told her no. Yeah, she was complaining she wasn't making enough money, and then something happened. I forget what it is, but she just walked in on like November 20th to November 30, somewhere in that like last week of November, and she was like, "Here's an envelope. Sorry." And then she started walking away, or she put it down, and I was like, "I know what this is. It's okay. I understand." And she really wanted to leave, but I was just like, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. I'm not mad at you for quitting. It This doesn't have to be awkward. And she's like, okay, don't open that until I leave. And I was like, okay. I knew it was her resignation letter because she's the type of person who would write in handwriting a whole letter and then resign. So she was like, don't open it until I leave. I was like, okay. She walks out the back door, and I have the whole letter out and I've been reading it for like 5 minutes already. So I pretty much read the whole thing. Like there wasn't really anything in there that I didn't already know. It was just like, yeah, I knew she wanted to quit because she was angry about me wanting to take more tips for the kitchen staff and that type of stuff. But yeah, like 5 or 10 minutes into me reading it, she walks back in. She's like, um, this is really awkward. I forgot to take some things. I was like, okay. I just standing there smiling. Okay. Don't worry. This isn't awkward. I don't care and whatever. And yeah, yeah. So sad part about that too, because I actually cared about her a lot. I thought she would be with my company for a very long time, but as far as I know, she's homeless now. And same thing, we tried to do what we could to help her, albeit we tried to help her more than we tried to help the other one because she meant a lot to us because we worked with her before. But there's a certain point where you can't help somebody if they don't want to help themselves. So yeah, if you leave my company, you might end up homeless. That's how soul crushing it is to not work for us anymore. uh, yeah. So she quit on the last week of November, which followed with December, and then the other two servers couldn't work that much. So I ended up being full-time server in the front, and then all of the other kitchen staff could manage the kitchen themselves. And December is December in Hawaii. It's really busy. You make a ton of tips. I'm gonna cut it off. I'll talk about this on the next video.